What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we got some great information for you guys because we're going to be discussing the missing games of the Nintendo Direct. But before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and please excuse any bad audio or background noise as I'm still using my alternate setup. So let's go ahead and get into it, and we're going to start off first with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I know a lot of you guys were anticipating this game to be at the most recent September Nintendo Direct, but it was not there. But I think I have some reasons why. And it was rumored that it was going to be there. There was plenty of evidence. I covered it so much on this channel, and it was a little bit upsetting to not see Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at the most recent Nintendo Direct. But at the same time, I do think that there was like an either or. It was either going to be like Bayonetta 3 or it was going to be Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I think that Nintendo went with Bayonetta just because fans have been waiting and been waiting and been waiting. And I do think that next year we will probably see Xenoblade Chronicles 3 shown off at a early the spring Nintendo Direct, probably like around maybe March or so. I do think that Nintendo will have a Direct where we see Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for the first time. Now, it is one thing to note here, guys, that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is not confirmed yet. This is just a rumor about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but I have heard from multiple sources myself that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a thing and that it is coming. And if you look at what Monolith Soft has been doing for the past number of years, it's pretty much been no new titles, and it's pretty much just been all like DLC, or it's been helping out with other Nintendo games with their other studios, or it's been like a remaster with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, whereas the main team, the main Takahashi Team 1, has been working on something, which we do know. They did state that they've been working on some games. So I do feel that we're going to see that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 probably early next year, and it probably launches later in the year, maybe a fall-ish type of release. And also, if you look back at when Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was announced, it was announced at the Nintendo Switch presentation 2017 and then launched later that year in December. So we could see a repeat of that. Now, next up is Metroid Prime 4. Obviously, people have been waiting for a long time. This game has had some issues, right? We know that it got canceled, it got scrapped. The whole game was in development and it got scrapped. They had to restart and they rebooted it with Retro Studios. They were using Bandai Namco beforehand. Now they're using Retro Studios once again, and they've hired a ton of talent for this game. You've got guys that have made big AAA games from across the industry, so obviously this is going to be a big deal for Nintendo. I know that Retro Studios does have a new facility that's putting in all these great developers to make this game, but there's also been some recent rumors with what's been going on that Nintendo isn't going to release Metroid Prime Trilogy HD. Now, the new plan is to release Metroid Prime 1 and make it more of not just like an upscale, but actually make it more of a full in-depth remaster or closer to a remake. That is the newest rumors out there. So I think that that could come as a package deal. We could see an update on Metroid Prime 4 sometime next year, and then we can also see a Metroid Prime remaster or Metroid Prime 1 remake or something like that. And if you look at it, that might fit what Nintendo wants to do. I mean, Metroid Prime is one of the most influential Nintendo games of all time. It took that 2D gameplay and brought it into like something that people never even expected that would be good. So I do think that it's possible that we do get that, and I'm not sure if it would be at a early Nintendo Direct. I think that would be something that maybe they show off at a E3 or they show off at a Game Awards. It has to be something that's really fine-tuned and ingrained in the Western audience, because that's what Metroid Prime is really geared towards. It's geared towards the Western audience. You know, it doesn't necessarily do too well in Japan. I think more of the 2D games have done better overall there, which Metroid Dread is coming out soon. So I do feel that Metroid Prime 1, a remake or remaster, that could be a thing, and it could be announced in tandem with actually showing off the first footage of Metroid Prime 4. But like I said, I think it would be something like the Game Awards where they show off those two, or if it's not at the Game Awards, This year, it's something like a E3 event where they kind of show it off and say, hey, this is Metroid Prime. Plus, there's some history with Metroid and E3. You know, we got Samus Returns, that was originally E3. Metroid Prime 4 was originally announced at E3 as well. So I think that there's some history there for it to be at that show. So we'll probably skip. Maybe it shows up at a Nintendo Direct, but I'm guessing it'd be E3 or it'd be at like a Game Awards or something like that. Now, last but definitely not least, we have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I think that there is a lot of intrigue with this game, and I do want to spend a little bit more time on this because I think it's interesting. I put up a poll on the channel, when do you guys, or not when, or more like what big game will be at the Game Awards this year out of like Metroid and Zelda and all sorts of stuff. And a lot of you guys felt that Nintendo would showcase The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 at the Game Awards, this year's Game Awards coming up, because there is a big history of Zelda and the Game Awards, Zelda E3. I mean, those kind of just go in tandem. So I would say, yeah, probably the next time that we see The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 would probably be at a Game Awards type of event where they show off a brand new trailer or something, because there's just so much history there. The year that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 1 came out, it won Game of the Year awards. They revealed the DLC there. They had it. I mean, it was just spectacular, right? So I do think that there is some history there. Obviously, Keighley and Nintendo work pretty well together. So I do think that that is a possibility when we first see it and we finally get the name. If there is going to be something, maybe it's even just, hey, the next Legend of Zelda adventure is coming. They kind of replay the trailer that they already had or something that's already been there, and then they say, here's the official name of the game, because we still don't know that, because it's not going to be called The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. At least I don't think it will be called that. I don't think Nintendo's going to be calling it that, just because they did state that they haven't revealed the name yet, or like the surname for it or whatever, because it gives away, it can have some spoilers or something. So I think they want to wait on that one. Zelda's definitely no stranger to directs. You know, I know Nintendo usually likes to go E3, but I do think that it could be at an early direct, depending on when the game is going to launch. I know from what I understand, at least, that COVID definitely played a part into kind of pushing The Legend of Zelda off a little bit more than maybe what Nintendo wanted to have it, or where Nintendo wanted to have it when it comes to release window or release date. So maybe if it's a late 2022 title, which it's looking like it's going to be something around there, then yeah, maybe we see something at a Nintendo Direct where they show off that first, you know, trailer, gameplay, actual hood gameplay footage, you know, where they actually kind of go in depth a little bit more than what they've showed off, because they just showed little snippets here and there, little quick bits here and there. There really isn't much when you total it all together. So I do feel that Nintendo could kind of go in with that. But E3 is always a possibility as well. Obviously, whenever you have Zelda, that's always a big ticket. That's always like a big key to like just capturing the imaginations and capturing the Nintendo fans. Like when you have Zelda, especially the greatest selling Zelda of all time, I think Nintendo's going to want to put this in a position when it comes to this new game to not only sell a lot of Nintendo Switch systems, but also set up whatever's next for the Nintendo Switch or Nintendo's next generation system with this Zelda game, because I don't think there'll be another one, you know, when it comes down to it. Like if you're just looking at like the logistics of when Zelda games come out. So I do feel that Nintendo's trying to set something up big here and obviously make a ton of money in the process. So they're going to do this in a little bit of a different way, but at the same time kind of make sure that when they do reveal this game, when they do put together footage, what they do show, it's very finely crafted and they kind of script it to the T when it comes to what they show and when they show it and how they market this game. Almost kind of like Metroid Dread, you know, what they've done with that. I know some people are crying spoilers and stuff like that, but this game has been marketed so good. So I think Nintendo can learn from that and learn from what they've done with previous games too. I think that the marketing that they've done with a lot of the other games, especially Breath of the Wild 1, was just fantastic. So I do feel that they're going to try to repeat that, and these Nintendo Directs and these different types of showcases or potential Game Awards, these are all really big viewed events that can get them that type of publicity that they're looking for these big games to get the sales results that they do want. But it's going to be interesting to see when or how or exactly what's going on with some of these missing games from the recent Nintendo Direct. What other games do you feel could come to the fray? Do you feel that some of these games are maybe misplaced in terms of when they're going to be shown? When do you think that they're going to be shown? If you have a difference of opinion from me, I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the link in the description. I've got a membership page. Go ahead and become a member, get some access to some cool perks, rewards, and benefits, and Discord as well. Also, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're someone new, and we will catch you for the next video. Peace.